Welcome to the SI Academy of class 9th, chapter number 7, control and coordinations. Okay, in previous videos we discussed that there are two types of movement. One is a growth related movement, another is a independent of growth. So plants also involves the two types of movement. One is a growth related movement and in another is independent of growth. These are the two types of movements observed in the plants. One is a growth related movement and another is independent of growth. First we'll discuss about independent of growth. Okay, next so immediate response. Okay, so immediate response to stimulus. We already know that the stimulus meaning what is the meaning of stimulus means it is something changes according to the environment is called as a stimulus. Means something response to the or towards this environment is called as a stimulus or a termed as a stimulus. Something whatever the activity is done according to the changes in the environment is called a stimulus. Okay, how changes in the environment, how plant will respond, that have to study here in this immediate response to stimulus. Let us think about the first kind of movement such as the sensitive plant. Okay, so sensitive plants means like this. Okay, sensitive plant means if we touch the sensitive plant means suddenly it will changes its shape. So this is called as what a sensitive plant. Also sometimes we can call it a money plant also. Since no growth is involved, the plant must actually move its leaves in response to touch. But there is no nervous tissue nor any muscle tissue. How does the plant detect the touch and how do the leaves move in response? For example, here this figure will illustrate more briefly. So this is a what sensitive plant. When we touch this sensitive plant, after touching this will turns into this shape. So here question is arises here, after touching the sensitive plant so it will changing its shape, but according to our study, so plant does not have any nervous tissue and thinking and also they does not have any cells also. Then how they will transfer the information, how they are changing the what position or a shape of a shell. We know that the animals having cell and neurons and brain or cells, all kind of cells having by the animals, but the plant does not have any tissue as well as the nervous system. Then how they will coordinate each other, and if we are touched one part and the entire leaf will be changed its shape. So how this will happen? So if there is no any kind of cells or a nervous system means something is there, so that will transferring the information from one part to the another part. So the first will conclude here. So it what will makes here conclusion means so they also communicate, they also communicate by the plants or leaves, but which method how to study here. So if you think about where exactly the plant is touched and what part of the plant actually moves, it is apparent that movement happens at a point different from the point of touch. Okay, here so when we know the which part we have touched and which part of the leaf will change its position means we can easily say that this part is touched and so this part only that is changed its shape. But in the case of sensitive plant, when we touch this part, okay, when we touch this part sorry, and this when we touch this part, not only this part will changing its shape, entire leaf will be changing, so leaf will be, the shape of the leaf will be changing means somewhat information is transferring to the all kind of these leaves. So how these information is passing from one end to the another end. So in animals we can easily say by the neurons, because our cell all new animals body having neurons or brain, so it will easily transfer from one cell to the another cell, or one part to the another part. But in the case of plant, there is no cells and there is no neurons. Then how they will transfer the information from one cell to the another cell, from one point to the another point, from this leaf to the this leaf, this leaf to the leaf. So after the receiving the information, so they will changing like this. So actually how this information is transferring from one leaf to the another leaf. So they definitely they will transferring the information sorry, but how they are transferring, this very important question. So in your exam they will ask how leaves are transferring the information, or which methods they are using, they will ask. So 1 mark questions, very important question. So information that touch has occurred must be communicated, correct? So if here in the figure we so when we here touched means the information is transferring through all the leaves. For that only all the leaves are what changing its shape, but we are touched only these leaves, but remaining all these leaves changing its remaining all these leaves are changing its positions, correct? But we touched only this leaf, only we are touched this leaves only, but the remaining all leaves are changing its position. So means this information, touching information, is transferred to the all the leaves, means somewhat they are communicating with each leaves, correct? So they are communicating means which method they are using. In a animal body they are using electrical method, correct? Electrical method. So they are conveying from one cell to the another method to transfer the information. Same thing, which informations or which method they are using to transfer the information in a animal cell. So the plant also use electrochemical means to convey this information from one cell to cell, but unlike in animals. Okay, remember that very important point comes here. Plants also convey the message from one cell to the another cell, or one leaf to the another leaf. Which method? Electrical chemical method. So which method? Electrical chemical method. By this method only they transferring the message from one cell to the another cell. Remember that very important point. So in our exam they will ask by which method plants will communicate with each other, means you can write electrochemical method. Very important point for exam purpose. So which method they will transfer the message from one part to the another part, means we can write without your hesitation electrical chemical method, right? Very important point. There is no specialized tissue in plants for the conduction of information. Again, like animals, there is no and in that animal number of cells are there, and number of from the cells they will make the water tissue. But in the case of plants there is no cell, there is no tissue, correct? So that tissue or cell will makes in the animal body to conduct the information, they will store the information, correct? So in the case of plant there is no cell, there is no tissue, correct? Already you know that. Finally again, as in animals, some cells must change their shape in order to movement to happen, correct? You already learned in the previous sections or previous video that the information what gathered in the cells, they will transfer from cell to cell, correct? Cell to cell by electrical method, right? So for that the cells are moving, the cells are what moving. So cells are moving, but in the case of the cells are absent in the plant, correct? In the animal they having cell and the cells are moving. The cells, while the cells are moving, they will transferring the information from one cell to the another cell. But in the case of plant there is no tissues, there is no tissue, there is no cell. So then how they will moving the information from one cell to the another cell? But they are using the electrical chemical method. By using the electrical chemical method they are transferring the information. But how actually moving the information from one cell to the another cell, that is having should be, there should be a path. So that is done by the what? In animal body, they will changing the protein, they will changing the protein, and this, the cells are moving. But in the case of plant, what they will changing? Finally, again in animals, some cells must be changed their shape in order to movement happen. Instead of specialized proteins found in animal must be cell, plants also change the shape by changing the amount of water in them. Okay, very important. Animal cells change their proteins. Animal cell change their proteins to move the cell, correct, to move the cell. But instead of proteins, the animals having proteins, so they will easily move the cell by changing the protein. They can easily move the cell. But in the case of plant, there is no cell, there is no protein. So then how they will move the information? Means simply by changing the amount of water in them. Remember that, very important. So first question will comes here. So how plants will communicate with each other? Means which method? Electrochemical method. Which method? Electrochemical method. By electrochemical method they will transfer the information or convey the information, right? Next will comes here. So how this information is passed from one cell to the another cell? Means so by changing the amount of water in them. Remember that, very important point. So how does plant cell change their shapes? Means by changing the amount of water in them. So from this changing of water they will change their shape. Remember, very important point. Plant cells change the shape by changing the amount of water in them, resulting in the swelling or shrinking, and therefore changing the shape. This question also very important from this paragraph. Two questions will come. One is how they will convey the message. The plants use electrochemical means convey the information from cell to cell. This is the answer. Which method? Electrochemical method. Another important question will comes here. So how plant cells change their shape? Means the plant cells change their shape by changing the amount of water in them, by resulting what? Swelling or shrinking. Very important point. They convey the message from one cell to cell by electrical chemical method. How they will change the shape? By changing the amount of water in them, by resulting swelling or shrinking. So these are the two very important points. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe my channel and share with your friends. So remaining videos will be uploaded very soon, and and also you want remaining chapters of the chapter of this videos, means you can subscribe my channel and share with your friends. Thank you.